Hello and welcome to the 20th not special video. Haven't actually got very much to show you this time. I'm gonna have to scrounge around and find things to show you. Right, tell you what, right. Gary, you're a guard. Now, you stand there and you guard this video until I get back with some content, okay? Yes, my lord. Right, I need to go find some... Oh, right, well I've done that. Yep, show you that. Right, and I can show you that. There's a thing. And... Right, so what I wanted to show you today was... Gary? Gary? What happened? Oh, he's been petrified. I'm guessing by a basilisk. Yeah, so this is actually something I've been working on, is petrification victims. There's a guard, there's a Skaven warrior, here's some goblins, and a chaos warrior, and I've also, because I had a broken model, a guard whose statue has been smashed up. Statue, his petrified form. We describe them as statues, don't we, during games? Yeah, and these are quite a little simple thing to do. You just need models that maybe aren't in great condition, maybe someone else has painted them badly and they're not really worth stripping to repaint. And what I've done is I have got a mixture of PVA glue and sand and dabbed it all over to give a slight kind of stone texture to it. And yeah, painted them grey. That's about it really. It looks nice when you use a model that is the same perhaps as one you do have painted. For instance, where you've seen Gary the Guard in my little novelty intro to the video there, but here's the same Hero Quest Chaos Warrior in petrified and non-petrified form. So that's an interesting mechanic I can use in my game, because I can have well, I can have things. Wow, I should probably start the sentence again. So, if your players have a way of unpetrifying petrified things, statues, you can replace it with the same model, or the other way around. As you saw, you can replace a model with a petrified version of it if you have something in the plot for it to be petrified. Now, this does get, you know, this is a novelty thing for the game, and it does get a bit ridiculous when you think about it. You can't just go through your whole collection and have a petrified version of every single thing in it. So, how do I mark petrified things when I don't have a petrified version of it? Well, that's a very good question, me. And what's the answer? Well, the answer is that there's too much stuff in the video at the moment. I need space. Right, so let's bring back Gary. There you go. He was fine all along. And let's say, yep, here comes the basilisk. But this time, let's pretend this model I don't have a petrified version of. I made this little marker, and it's just a little ring of cardboard painted in much the same way as the petrified models, and you just hang this on there, and that represents the status of someone being turned to stone. And that's very useful for models you're not going to have more than one of, such as player characters or so on. Or, you know, you might have a rare model, and well, you don't want to go through your whole collection and make petrified. These are novelty things for pre-set up bits. If I've got like a basilisk lair, a Medusa's lair, a cockatrice nest or something, and I want to make it clear there is a monster around here that does petrification, yeah, you fill the room with these guys, and you pose them like something's going on, and that gets your players all, oh, there's a petrification monster around here, and they get all paranoid and start taking precautions against getting petrified. That's how that works in the game, but you know, you can't do that for every single model, so the rings also very useful, but that's never going to look as good on the table. You wouldn't sort of set up a gallery of... Oh, let me pause a second. Not that you'll notice it, because it'll be jump cut. You only notice this because I'm saying so. So, yeah, there we go. Well, you definitely noticed that jump cut, won't you? I would normally comment about lighting here, but I've discovered that my lighting tends to look a lot better than I think it does while I'm recording. So that lighting might be okay. So what was the point I was making? Yeah. So if you set up a, you know, the statue gallery encounter, the standard one, and you did it with, you know, your regular models and just hung these on, it doesn't look as good, and the player's sort of already, you know, you've got the suspension of disbelief there, and it's not as good. But that is a legitimate way of doing it. But it's not the same. These are sort of status markers. These are props, and that's the difference there. I don't think it really deserved that much talking about. Right, and yes, for those wondering, the box I've opened at the minute that I'm getting the miniatures out of does contain quite a lot of my HeroQuest type minis. Shall we go down what they are, maybe? So that is a HeroQuest Chaos Warrior, as I mentioned earlier. As is that. That is a Vermeer from HeroQuest. These guys have been rebased. It takes a little while, but I think it's worth it. It just looks nice. Incidentally, that's not rebased, but what I've done is put my hand across the camera. What I've done is I've roughed up these bases a bit to make them look like stone, which adds to the this is a thing made of stone type effect, at least it does in my opinion. In the case of this Advanced HeroQuest Skaven, it's a Mantic base he's been glued down to, and the square base is just, although I don't really have a reason for square versus round bases, these just kind of match each other, and it makes a sort of coherent bunch of, yes, these are the victims of petrification. I hope someone's getting something out of this video. I'm sure one person is, I don't know. Talking of one person, hi Carl, thanks for commenting. Yes, I'll correct that. That'll freak out everyone but one Carl. Unless you're not called Carl, I don't know. That may have been a bad observation to make. Anyway, hi Carl. so yeah. So on not the quite the same level. Not the quite the same level. Can you tell I didn't sleep brilliantly last night, but I'm trying to get this video done so I have some content? This is a HeroQuest gargoyle. It's one of the best things about the HeroQuest game. It's a very nice miniature. It's called a gargoyle. It is not a bloodthirster. It looks like a bloodthirster, but it's a gargoyle. Try reading the books. Oh, he doesn't stand up. Well, he's not on this. Ah, normally this stands up. I don't know what's going on. Something happened to his base. These are good models. They normally stand up as well. Yeah, there we go. Right. He's got a friend who's bronze. Anyway, the point I was trying to make, I'm going to center the camera rather than risk moving that guy again. Seemed to fall over backwards where he stood there. Point I was trying to make. Let's try to get back to it. So, in a similar vein to Petrified versus Unpetrified, it's nice to have stone versions of gargoyles. So that when the gargoyle inevitably springs to life in the encounter in the ancient temple, you've got this beforehand and a finished, like, living, painted version of it afterwards. Incidentally, I haven't finished my living version of the gargoyle yet. I've only done the bronze and stone versions for statues, and I haven't actually had one come to life yet, which is another thing to do. If you've got statues that are going to come to life, put them in your game a lot beforehand so your players get used to the fact they're statues. And they'll think, oh, no, because when you see a statue in a D&D game, you're like, ah, it's going to spring to life. So if you keep putting statues in, eventually that paranoia will go away with your players, and then finally when you do spring it on them, bang! Or finger click. Probably not necessary to do both at the same time. Yeah. So that's another point that I could probably have made clearer. The ball just happens to be a bit uneven at that point, and it does slope slightly backwards because it's sat on my sofa. Didn't realise these were so back heavy before. Oh well, that one seems to stand up fine. Anywho, right. Yeah, that was my point. Yeah, these are, again, HeroQuest miniatures. Been drifting around a lot on what I'm saying in this video, haven't I? Yeah, that's not HeroQuest, it's a modern Chaos Warrior. Sort of painted up to be the leader of these HeroQuest ones. Same kind of colour scheme. That's irrelevant. And this is a Beastman from a similar period, a little bit later than HeroQuest. It's one of those nice, sort of classic one-piece plastics. Rather like these. They're in sort of nice neutral poses, so they're very useful models. They're not all in these dramatic running, attacking and falling over poses you get a lot of models in these days. Any other HeroQuest ones to hand to show you? Not really, but don't worry. So we're up to 14 minutes now. Other thing I've been making... broken bits of wooden bridge, because in the last adventure I ran, my players destroyed some wooden walkways. And I knocked the camera. Line that up again. Right. So these are just made of coffee stirrers, like I do the normal wooden walkways I do. And these are, well, this is especially a broken walkway. You can use it all kinds of ways. These are a little bit more universal of use though. These are just stacks of, you can make these out of the scraps left behind when you're making something out of coffee stirrers. All I've done is glued them down to a piece of paper, poured a little bit of super glue between them, waited for the whole mess to dry, and then tore away the paper, and then painted them. Oh, also seal them with PVA glue, that helps. Always do that when you're doing wood. Seal with, you know, proper, good builder's PVA. Not that school glue stuff. Shouldn't be using that for miniatures. That's what the underneath looks like. Yeah, that's where the paper's sort of torn away, but it helps to hold it together during the gluing process. Here we go. Yeah, like I said, these are a lot more universal in use. You can use these to sort of represent the sort of scattered remains of anything wooden. If you've got a room full of wrecked furniture, you don't have to make every single piece of wrecked furniture. What you can do is just have like even one piece of an example of what the furniture looked like, and just scatter a few of these around. I've made quite a lot of these. This is an extra bunch because a particularly large wooden bridge was destroyed. But I've got a whole box full of these somewhere. They're very useful, they're very easy to make. And we are very much at the 16-minute mark or past. So, I think this would be a good time to say goodbye, and I need a goodbye catchphrase.